This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is Monday, November the 6th, 2023. We're so glad you could join us today. Coming up, we're going to talk with Stine Seed President Myron Stine as they celebrate their 45th anniversary in business. We'll also take a look at a very nice ag weather outlook. But first, let's run down those markets. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to talk with Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin saw quite a bit of green in the grain trade here today. Tell us what's going on.
Well, soybeans were the leaders, basically. Soybean oil. Soybean meal struggled a little. Wheat struggled a little. Corn really didn't do a whole lot by the end of the day. But the soybeans, they were pushed higher, a couple of reasons. We had export inspections really good at 76.6 million bushels. It's up 1.3 million bushels from last week. So that's doing pretty well. The other thing is the concern over what's going on in Brazil as far as some areas seeing slow planting pace because of some of the rains they've had. And then central Brazil seeing slow planting pace because of the dryness they have. Farmers waiting a little bit for more moisture in order to begin planting. So that's just got the trader juices going a little bit in order to support the soybean complex. Now, we're not that far behind. I believe only about 5% behind last year as far as planting is concerned, but that's what the market thrives on. Anything that is a little bit out of the ordinary or what they think should be the ordinary provides the price support into that market. But it didn't hurt in order to see good export inspections. It didn't hurt to see 126,000 metric tons of soybeans sold to China on the overnight trade. So that all just combined together in order to provide that support. Now on the corn side, we had 21.1 million bushels of corn inspected for shipping. It was down 200,000 bushels from last week. Wheat was 2.6 million bushels. That was down 4.7 million bushels from last week. So one would have thought we'd had a little more pressure on the wheat because of the slow export pace. But we did have the drought conditions impacting Panama Canal, with the Canal Authority reducing number of vessels moving through the canal. There might be reducing a little bit more. We did see some bombing in Odessa area, damaging some of their infrastructure and some of the grain handling facilities. So that probably provided some support to the wheat market rather than being negative. Now, in the conditions this afternoon, we're looking for wheat crop conditions at 48% good to excellent. That's up from 47% last week and up from 30% a year ago. Winter wheat planted at 91%, with 84% last week and 92% a year ago. And then corn harvesting at 84%, 71% from last week, or up from 71% last week and 87% a year ago, with soybeans at 92% complete, 85% last week and 94% a year ago. So really the harvest is on track pretty much. We're pretty much to the point where things are going to be wrapped up. So there's not any kind of a weather delay concern, whatever could be happening that could support the market further just because of a weather scenario. Now, the corn, we had a sale to Mexico on the overnight at 289,575 metric tons. So Mexico continues to be a large buyer of our corn right now. Will we see a post-harvest type of a traditional rally? We may be seeing it in the soybeans because of the aforementioned things I talked about, but with the everything being put away in the bin as such, might be a little bit harder to pry out of the farmer's hand once it gets to that point. But I don't think we're there yet at this point in time. So overall, it was a supportive market today, but not an exceptional market except in the soybean complex.
So switching gears, looking at cattle and hogs, livestock in general, what did we see coming out of the market today?
Well, cattle were under pressure. I mean, they opened lower, gapped lower, live cattle. We did see somewhat steady cash last week, a little bit higher in some areas, but the market came out of the starting block today, fell lower, seeing some triple-digit losses upwards to $3 on both feeders and live cattle. That solidifies the fact that the top has probably been in. We're struggling a little bit with boxed beef, and that's keeping the packers a little less aggressive. Now, numbers are shorter or tight still yet, but again, I usually use the terminology of if there's lower availability of product, but nobody wants it, and I say that with tongue in cheek, prices are going to be lower. And I think we've seen our top in the cattle market. There is some hope or anticipation that we could see cattle trade up to 190 again by the end of this month. I think that could be kind of a stretch at this point in time with lower futures now. Packers are probably going to hold the line pretty well. Now, funds on the Commitment of Traders report did some more liquidation of the cattle complex. And that was a little surprise to some of the trade, seeing the recent strength that we had in that market. So funds seem to be exiting that, both feeder cattle and live cattle at this point in time. Now, boxed beef price at midday today was down 93 cents for choice, 97 cents for select. Again, that's boxed beef has been a little struggling the last week or a week to 2 weeks. There have been some stronger days, but overall it's been slipping a little bit lower. On the hog side, they held pretty well today. Didn't see a lot of spillover pressure from the cattle complex like sometimes it does. Lower cash and cutouts on Friday really seemed to not have an impact today. We did see prices gaining double digits. We saw them moving back and forth during the day, especially December, which is doing its normal thing it's been doing for a couple of weeks, where it swings much more than the other contracts, both higher and lower. Cutouts were down at midday today, 96 cents. Again, seeing a little bit more pressure from the possibly demand side. Now, futures have been defying what's been going on in the underlying cash and cutouts over the last 2 weeks. They've been rallying, primarily last week, in the face of lower cash and cutouts. So kind of gives you a little sense of confusion there because funds have been liquidating. So whether it's the smaller average trader that's trying to buy in for the long term on the anticipation that we're going to see continued stronger demand even as we move over into the new year when Prop 12 fully takes impact, seems to be the situation we're in right now. Now, cash on the National Direct Morning Report was not reported because of Packer confidentiality. They didn't get their numbers together properly, or their computer program get it in. So we didn't see anything as far as strength or weakness in cash. So that we'll see that at the end of the day, but the market did fairly well. There may be a little bit of a growing anticipation of the markets trending higher here for a period of time.
All right, Robin, lots for our listeners to be thinking about here. If they want to get in touch with agmarket.net and see what kind of information they can provide them, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, they can call me directly at 877-256-3253, or go to our website, agmarket.net. 844 number is there. They can feel free to pick up the phone and call in.
All right, Robin. Well, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
And that again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's see how those numbers closed for you. That information comes to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn up a half at 478 3/4. March up a quarter at 493 even. November beans up 4 1/4 at 1287. January up 3 1/4 at 1310 1/2. Soy meal up $4.10 at 418 even. Soy oil 83 cents lower at 50.83. Chicago wheat down 9 at 585 1/4. Minneapolis down 8 1/4 at 728 1/2. Kansas wheat down 15 3/4 at 629 1/4. Oats down 14 1/4 at 408 even. December live cattle up 30 cents at 183.55. Feeders are up 2 cents at 237.70. Lean hogs 55 cents over at 71.72. Pork cutouts even at 80.20. And Class 3 milk up a penny at 16.87. That again was your market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we talk with Stine Seed President Myron Stine. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, when we think about what it takes to bring a business up, especially in a small town, there's always a lot of difficulty and there's always a lot of challenges that are faced before any business can be successful. But to grow that business beyond a small town into a global player, well, that's exactly what Stine Seed has done. And we talk with Myron Stine as we look back on their 45 years. Pleased to be joined by Myron Stine. He is president of Stine Seed Company here in Iowa. Mr. Stine, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Very glad to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
So we're obviously talking about some celebration you've got going on, a big milestone here at Stine Seed Company. Why don't you tell us what's going on and what you're celebrating?
Sure, yeah. So 45 years with Stine brand. And what Stine brand is Stine brand is a brand that represents a number of different soybean and corn breeding entities that are ran here. And very, very excited about this. We're today the 4th largest soybean brand in the U.S., and then we've expanded into Latin America, and we're doing also work in Europe now. So wonderful time for us, and we're anxious to see what we can do in the next 10 years or so.
And of course, 45 years, a lot has changed, obviously, from starting the company and being a small Iowa company to now expanding to that footprint, and even if I'm not mistaken, adding another country to that footprint that you're marketing in as well, right?
That's right. Yes, we actually started just as a Iowa-based company, and we got into Minnesota and things like that. So we were really kind of the central part of the Corn Belt for the longest time. The last 6 years, we've done an extensive expansion here in the U.S. So we're down in the southern areas. We've gone over to the west, and we've done a lot of work. We're doing a lot of work now in the east, like in Pennsylvania and areas like that. But yes, then going out away from the United States, we first went into the Latin American market, but now 2 years ago, we jumped into Europe, and that's been fun and exciting to learn about that and understand what's going on in Europe with corn and soybean production.
So obviously, the family has really grown the company, and like you said, expanded in the last 6 years. I mean, what has it taken to take that big step from being, middle of the Corn Belt to a global entity?
Well, so in the middle, as far as the U.S. expansion, it's about scaling up what we've been doing with representation. In Latin America, we actually had been down there doing research for quite some time. So we had the right connections, and we got involved with some people that we'd been working with for a long time on research, but then they took on the Stine brand. And then in Europe, same type of deal. We have a group of people that we've worked with, like in the late 90s, we started to work with them a little bit, and they're now taking on Stine brand in Europe, So it's about knowing people and having the right connections really to expand into those areas.
But with the family still being very much involved into the operation of the company, obviously, I'm assuming the core value that was established 45 years ago is still very alive and well.
Yes, yes, we're a family-based company. We like that. Harry Stine, my father, started the company. He was the genius behind developing the breeding entities as they are today and making them successful. I have two sisters and a brother that work in the company also. We actually all get along quite well, which I think is rare for a family-based company. And we're focused on developing genetics and bringing brand new genetics to our customers. And probably the key thing for Stine Seed Company as a brand is just all the relationships we've developed with customers, with seed partners out there, our employees, all that comes together. And if you do the right things in those areas, that's a long-lasting thing, as long as you continually to look at those relationships and build those relationships, and don't do things to hurt those relationships.
I imagine as much work as you guys have put into the company to make it grow, make it expand, and see where it has come to. I mean, that's got to be beyond what was expected of the family probably when you first started it, 45 years ago.
Oh, I would tell you, my father had no idea this company would be what it is today. He had no idea. And we're still relatively small compared to the other entities that we compete with. But we're kind of playing in a different ball field too, because we're the family-based, privately held company, and they're the publicly traded companies. And it's great to have competition. Competition is what makes the world go around here. So we've enjoyed that.
So as farmers are looking forward to 2024 and the new growing season and making those plans available, how can Stine be a part of those plans for them?
Well, so we have a number of trusted advisors out there to help them decide on the corn and soybean side what type of genetics they need to plant on their farm to maximize their yields. And they can go to our website, www.stineseed.com, and start there to get a representative to speak with on that.
Well, Myron Stine is the president of the Stine Seed Company. We thank you so much for taking the time, and congratulations on 45 years in business here as an Iowa-based seed company.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me on your show.
That again was Myron Stine, Stine Seed president. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Ag Weather Outlook. Well, the sun is shining and it's a beautiful day. Temperatures are very mild here as we look at low 60s up to around 70 today. Now, it's supposed to stay that way, and we're going to see a little more cloud cover across much of the state tomorrow, but the temperatures should still hold. While that can be a problem for those who want to get their anhydrous fertilizer on, as the soil temperatures are still awfully high. I guess we'll take those mild temps as long as we can get them. Let's see what the National Weather Service says, though, for the next 24 hours. Well, looking at the forecast today, we saw mostly sunny skies across a good portion of the state. There were some snow showers in the northeastern part of the state as that stretched up into parts of Wisconsin and over to the Great Lakes region. We saw highs today in the low to mid 30s. Now tonight, look for mostly clear skies statewide. It's going to be cold, though. We're going to see lows anywhere from the mid-teens to the low 20s. And tomorrow, though, mostly sunny skies, going to look a little bit warmer, and we're going to see highs anywhere from the low 40s to around 50. In fact, as we take a look at the affiliate weather map, tomorrow Cherokee sunny skies and 42, Shenandoah sunny 50, Des Moines sunny and 46, Waterloo going to hang on to a few more clouds than the rest of the state, and they're going to be 42 under partly sunny skies. Albion will be 45 under sunny skies, and Clinton looks to be sunny and 42 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified each time we put out a new video project. Also, don't forget about our free market podcasts. They come out through Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Podbean, and they're delivered right to your mobile device with market analysis. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.